Hey, everybody, and welcome to this new episode of the EchoStor Microsoft Minute. I'm joined by Chuck Salvo. Chuck is a technical lead on our modern workplace practice, as well as a field technology lead in our innovation team. My name's Steve Caprio. I'm a technical lead on our modern workplace practice. Today, we're going to be talking to you about Microsoft Entra ID P2, specifically identity governance and entitlement management features. These tools are essential for ensuring that only the right people have access to the right resources at the right time. Most of our customers do find their way into this license set because of the privileged identity management component. Administrators might be the first people to be given this license so that they don't carry privilege around all the time and they can simply elevate to that privilege in a just-in-time manner. But there's a lot more that organizations can be doing with this, and I think the three pieces that we really wanted to talk about today were lifecycle management or access lifecycle management, entitlement management, and access reviews, and how those things would be beneficial to organizations that may already be buying P2 or have it included in Microsoft 365 E5, where the bundle it includes that feature set.
Before you too much further, Steve, definitely PIM, like that P2 for administrators alone is worth it, right? We see so many customers that go out there and they've got an ADM account, they've got their personal account, they assign the license over here, they're trying to get access over here, this account has access, that account doesn't, and you just run into so many nightmares trying to figure out what's assigned to what. Using PIM gives you such a huge advantage because you can get that logging and that auditing about why did you need global admin rights? Why did you need exchange admin rights? So to me, I think that's a huge win by itself, but all these other features you're going to talk about are just, to me, are a huge bonus.
Yeah, I think PIM too, like the other place that people are maybe thinking about it from a, hey, I just might need my admins to elevate. Sometimes non-admins have maybe admin-specific tasks allowing another application that they're developing to access the graph in some manner. Being able to have those people request and maybe wait for approval, but at least request those things means that you have a whole task that doesn't have to be submitted through a ticket and discussed in too great of detail, whereas there's a workflow that's had there. So I think, like you said, the PIM alone is a good draw. Access packages, access requests, lifecycle management, all of those features are nice to have. And I think in its most simplistic form, those things make up what Microsoft would call their IGA toolset. Access packages, being able to design a package that includes permissions, applications, and resources into a single requestable package for either your internal users or external users, makes it easy for you to say, hey, I don't need to go and do each one of these things one by one, assign the permissions and then assign the application and any of the other resources. I can create this package because I know that people are going to be requesting it, and that streamlines things as well. Self-service access requests.
Yeah. If we take an external user, do they need the P2 license to enable those features?
For now, external users are covered for free at no additional cost. Microsoft is working on an Entra ID governance license for business guests, and that'll work on a monthly active usage model. But that's not going to be rolled out until late this year, which means, given Microsoft's timeline, sometime maybe 2025, but we'll see. So yeah, but eventually that will be a paid license. For now, those entitlements are free.
Perfect.
You can do self-service access requests where you make those available for request from any subset of users or maybe like a domain set of users. But then those external users can go and submit an access request and seek approval for it. I actually have a quick diagram I'll show on that because I think it highlights some of the rest of the capabilities here as well. So you can see here, the external user can go to the self-service access portal, again, Entra ID or maybe My Apps here. They can request access to that package. The approval workflow might mean that as soon as they send that request, there's a set of administrators for that particular access package that goes ahead and approves it. Once they seek approval, they're granted access and the resource are accessed. The next piece here is access reviews. So we had talked about request packages and PIM and self-service, but the access reviews are a key part of this. Normally, the IT function is to go and crawl groups and say who's used what, but this kind of takes it off of IT and can bring it down to the business level. The people in your organization working with these external users can be given the opportunity to review the access of these people. So let's say the access was granted for a particular project or a normal workflow throughout the year. the manager of that approval or access package would be able to review the access and determine if that user still needed it or if the project was finished, and that should just go to expiration. Once they're expired, that B2B user is then purged and they can start the process all over again. So you can see in an organization that may do this quite frequently, providing external access, especially to similar applications or places, this would be a much easier workflow and one that's attestable. So we can get attestation from the access review manager, see when the person requested it, who approved the initial request, review those periodically to make sure that people are following the use case, but also that the right resources are being granted, the right permission set is being granted. So I think it's a worthwhile upgrade. Some customers and organizations out there may have more complex scenarios that other offerings may do better for. But if your organization has P2 or has M365 E5 and isn't doing anything with identity governance, I think some of these tools are going to make your life easier and also make you feel a lot more secure knowing who's accessing what and how often that access review is occurring.
Very cool. So those access reviews, that itself is also another function of just the P2, right? So you do access reviews, root memberships and SharePoint and Teams and things like that, right?
Even if it's not for the external user scenario, just access reviews in general on the internal side may be useful. People are granted access to certain SharePoint sites, to certain other security groups that might provide access to resources in the environment. This also works for on-prem if you do group write back. So you can write back group membership here to the on-prem and assign access to file shares and other things on premises that can then be used with access reviews. So there's a lot of capability here that, regardless of whether you're interfacing with external users or your own internal users, would be useful to an org that's not doing any of this right now. The only other thing I would cover is lifecycle management. There's the ability to onboard and offboard users automatically based off of the life cycle of their time in the environment. So that might mean different things as far as like when that is over and maybe an access review triggers that. It's not just the removal from certain packages, but the actual removal from the organization. And onboarding, similarly, if a new user is onboarded and you want to add them to a specific entitlement by policy or by the fact that they're a member of a specific group, that's easy to do as well. So the lifecycle management pieces here are a powerful option as well if you're not currently doing something like that with an HRIS or other tool out there.
I was going to say, what about, would you see a customer potentially use like Power Automate as part of that? Policies kick in, P2 takes care of the rest, so you don't have to code as much, and it puts it more into the IT team's hands?
Yeah, we've definitely seen some of that. If there's a form that gets filled out regarding the call it like a hardware request form, every new onboarded user is going to get maybe a laptop and some other hardware based on what department they sit in. That form might trigger access as well, because if they're in the marketing department, they get access to a specific group, and then that means a certain number of applications that also get assigned to them. All of that can be controlled with access packages and approval workflows. And kicking that off from Power Automate, whether it's by a form or some other automated cloud flow, are definitely open options. In closing, if you're an organization that is entitled with Entra ID P2, either on its own as an a la carte add-on or through the M365 package, and you want to hear more about the capabilities here or do a deeper dive, we can certainly help out with that. Reach out to us at all the contact information that you'll see on the screen. And we're looking forward to getting together for the next Microsoft Minute, which will be a bit of a preview of what's going to be talked about at Ignite. I think we'll have a good time covering what we're excited about. The follow-on from that will be a post-Ignite Microsoft Minute. We've talked about it a little bit. Now that we've gotten into a cadence here, we'll maybe have a guest appearance from one of the other folks here at EchoStor. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.